Hi there. So in this beautiful video, I am replying to a gorgeous comment, one of the few that I get to see. I don't understand. The other day I received a comment that had the word suicide in it. So I really don't know what's going on with YouTube, that I don't get to see the comments that are coming through. And I'm really sorry for that. I don't have any control over that. I've been through my settings many times and I don't hold any comments according to the settings. I'm open to receiving all of them and then you modify them from there, but there's no held comments. All comments are welcome. And because that's what we're here for. We're here to serve you with your questions, with your doubts, fears, whatever it is that's coming up that you want to share, that you want information about. Remember, you can always email us if you're finding after a few days I'm not replying. Or you can visit our beautiful Facebook page and place your questions there or your comments there. Today, the beautiful comment I received from Helen was about birth charts. She was asking, I wonder if we are bound to these traits. And she was saying, the comment will show up here so you can read the full comment. I've just broken it up a little bit to make it easier. I come across as a lecturer when I'm offering guidance. Is it possible to work on changing these traits, or are they part of our DNA and should learn to love these parts of us? Yes, yes, and yes to all of it. I love this ending. So is it possible to work on changing these traits, or are they part of our DNA and we should learn to love these parts of us? So the first part where Helen is asking about the birth chart, that reminded me of a question I received a few months ago about astrology and your star sign or moon sign, because I found out later there's a moon sign, or I'm not into any of that. I was for a really long time, into, I'm an Aquarius and all this, and reading all the traits of Aquarians and all this. And then it was through a comment my husband made one day about my daughter and her star sign. And I was saying to her, soon, we should buy something with your birthstone in it because your birthstone is diamonds. And he said to me, who decided that? Who decided that her birthstone is diamonds? And in the moment that he said that, I was like, oh, great, because I don't like my birthstone, I'm stuck with garnet. And from really little, I was given jewelry with that gem, and that birthstone, I was going to say, with that gem, and I don't like it. So I was like, great, I can let go of that now. It's not mine. Someone made it up one day and everyone's been following it, it's the truth. So with that comment about that gemstone, that was the birthstone for my daughter, I was able to release so much, because when he said that, over the course of the next few weeks and the next few months, I began to observe, which is something I love to do. I love to observe. I'm curious about how things work. And I began to observe my dad and his traits, and my father-in-law and his traits. And they're both from Cancer, the star sign Cancer, or moon sign. I don't know now what's what, but they're both from the month of June. And they're, I think, 5 days apart from each other. So when my husband said that, I started to look at these two men that I've known quite well in my life. And they couldn't be more opposite in their personalities, in their traits. I sat down one day and I was trying to think of one thing they had in common, and I couldn't come up with one. And then I did the same. I looked at the people I know that are Aquarians, and I couldn't find one trait that they had that I had in common with them. And so I began to question it all and realized that it was a belief. And in that moment, I thought, you know what? I'm not limiting myself with that belief, that because I was born in a certain month, at a certain time, in a certain year, that this is who I am. When so many times I read the traits and I read what they say about Aquarians, and there's so many things that I just do not feel belong to me. They just don't resonate. So, and I look at my husband's stars and I think, that's nothing like him, you know. What I do know in my heart to be the truth, my beautiful Helen, and to all of you out there who are curious about this subject, what I know in my heart is that the traits that we have in this human experience, we learn these behaviors. We learn them. It's not who we are. They're learned traits from our beautiful parents in our childhood, or the beautiful people that raise us, because not all of us are raised by our biological parents. We learn that. The impatience that I have, I learned that from my mum. And just so you know, 2 days ago, I was stuck in traffic. My GPS, I was off to work to take care of these beautiful elderly people or seniors. I'm not sure what the correct name is for people. They were both in their 80s, 90s, I think. I didn't look at they looked like they were in their 90s, bless their heart. But my GPS, it always sends me under this tunnel and then I lose reception. And I come out somewhere out west that has nothing to do with where I'm meant to go, because I was meant to be heading towards the city and I ended up in that direction. And when I came out from the tunnel, which is supposed to save you time, right? I come out and I still had 45 minutes to get there. And when I left my house, it was only 45 minutes away. So I ended up being 15 minutes late by the time I got there, because I left an hour early. So I was so frustrated, you know, that I had traveled for about 20 minutes in the wrong direction. And this app just didn't advise me that I was supposed to turn off anywhere. And my husband was like, well, why didn't you check before you left? And I was like, but I just got the information for that job like an hour before I left the house. So my priority was to have a quick shower, you know, get dressed up, look as best I could and jump into the car. I wasn't expecting my GPS to not take me there, you know, properly like it usually does. Anyway, I'm sitting in traffic, and on the motorways, it's usually 100. You're allowed to 100 kilometers per hour here in Australia. And we were doing 40. And the more I was sitting in this traffic and looking at the time and seeing that I was getting there later and later and later, I was getting so angry. And I started yelling at my angels of like, dude, you know, I accepted this job. I'm going. I was happy to go. What more do you want? You know, you guys are supposed to be on my side. Why are you making me so late? I don't like being late, you know. It was my first time visiting these people, and it's the first impression, you know, that you give. And I'm 15 minutes late. For me, that's really late. You know, I'm usually 5 minutes early, or if they're new, I'll be 10, 15 minutes early. I'd rather sit out the front waiting than being late, you know, to someone that's new that I've never seen before. So the rest of the day went well. I managed to get to the other clients on time. But as I'm sitting in the traffic, I could feel my anger. I was so upset. I was so angry. And that was my impatience. And these are the traits from my childhood, you know. So there are still things, you know, that I feel. And when I got home and I was asked how my day was, I released that anger in full force when I got home, to the point that my husband said to my daughter, give her a hug, give her a hug. And she was like, and I stormed out the door and I went for a walk, because I needed that walk to just, you know, release that energy. But what I loved about that day was that I didn't suppress my anger. I didn't stop and judge my anger. I thought, okay, this made me angry. And when I got to these lovely people in the morning and I was 15 minutes late, I was very apologetic. But I couldn't release my anger with them. It wasn't their fault. And then I was working for 6 hours straight that day, going from house to house to house. So until I got home at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, that anger had been bottled up inside of me. And I walked through the door where I knew I was safe, and I unleashed like a storm. Heavy winds, heavy rain, chance of hail. Yeah. So I got home and I just let rip. And then I went for a walk. It's very rare that my family sees me like that. Very rare. But I feel that for my daughter, it's important for her to know that you have these feelings for a reason. And when they come up, to just feel them completely in an appropriate setting. It wouldn't have been appropriate for me to get to the first job and go, blah, verbal diarrhea all over these new people I'd never met before, these beautiful 90-year-olds that was so calm and so sweet and so gentle when I got there. And I just felt so at home. That was not the appropriate place. In my car as I was stuck in the traffic, yes, I unleashed as well. But it wasn't until I got home and I knew I was in a safe place that I thought, okay, now I can let it all out. And it was good. It was really good, for me. Because these feelings are there for a reason. Whatever it is. And I learned through the latest book, which now has kind of taken a back seat to the courses, but it's finished, to love all of it because it's all there for a reason. The anger is there for a reason. And I learned through this last book that if we are to heal every single little thing that is in our system, we will be here forever, because it's a bottomless pit. What many people don't realize is that what's stuck in your system is not just from this lifetime. I've had many past lifetime regressions, and there is stuff that's like hundreds of years old that's still caught in your system. It is endless. It's a bottomless pit. I remember one day talking to my beautiful mother-in-law of when does it end? When I was going through all the healing with my mum, where does it end? When does it end? I was so over stuff coming up about my mum at the time. This was like 5 years ago now. And she said to me in all her wisdom, because I kept saying to her that everything is infinite, everything is infinite. And she said to me in all her wisdom, well, if everything is infinite, wouldn't that be infinite too? And then I realized, yes, it's a bottomless pit. We would be here for all eternity trying to heal everything that's stuck in our system. So, coming back to the beautiful topic of our traits and this question of, is it possible to work on changing these traits? These traits that you have, my impatience is from my mum. I remember her being so impatient, and that was the reason most of the time we got yelled and smacked. She would yell at us. That was because of her. She had a short fuse. She would lose it really quickly, So we learn all these things. We learn impatience. We learn this, I come across as a lecturer when offering guidance. This reminds me of my beautiful father-in-law. He always sounded so superior when he would explain things, trying to be right. Bless his heart. This is a learned behavior. Many times, and if people are bringing this up for you, it's a gorgeous opportunity for you to look at, why do I need to express myself that way? Why am I coming across as a lecturer, as superior is what the words that are coming up for me today. That's a beautiful. So in every moment, we can choose who we are, who we want to be in every moment. You can look at why those traits are there, how you adopted those traits. But for me, The traits that we have are passed down by our parents, by our beautiful parents, and we chose them. We chose them that we may have these gorgeous traits, to have this beautiful human experience. So, my beautiful beings, the last part of the question is the part I love the most. I remember coming back one day from visiting, I've mentioned this before, we were visiting my husband's dad. And when we were coming back, I remember my husband had an argument with his dad, and he was so angry with his dad. And I remember on that trip having this moment, this like illumination, light bulb moment. And I said to him, you know what? I said to him, sometimes our parents are showing us who we can be. But we can always choose not to be that. If it's something that doesn't make us feel good, if it's something that doesn't make us happy. In my home growing up, I don't think I ever heard the word sorry, because we knew that if we got in trouble, we would be punished. We never wanted to acknowledge that we made a mistake, ever. This is how I grew up in my home. And in my husband's home, he was the same. He said he doesn't remember a time. He'd been waiting forever to receive an apology from his dad, and his dad never said he was sorry. And the one time I remember my husband asking his dad said, I was doing the best that I could do, so just deal with it. And that is true as well. Not accepting him as he is. It was a judgment. To be angry with him and to be expecting an apology was a judgment. It's not accepting that person as they are. But both of us, having grown up like this, in my home, never knowing what the word sorry was, and in his home, forever waiting for an apology from his dad, that never happened. We are so happy in every moment to acknowledge when we stuff up. Look, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't realize it was going to affect you. I'm sorry. For us, it's so easy to do. So you can change. The things that you didn't like, you can choose to do it differently. And in doing so, become a different person. The things that you don't like, it's not about you sitting and judging it. It's giving you a choice in every moment. You can be that. You can be the same. And you already know what that looks like. You grew up with it. You know the result, how that's going to turn out. Or you can choose. Well, I don't like how that looks. It doesn't look too good to me. So I'm going to do something else. I'm going to do something different. Now, what I loved the most about this comment was, should we learn to love these parts of us? Yes. The more you resist something, the more you decide that you don't like something about yourself, the more you put it in place. Resistance just keeps things in place. But when you love it, when you accept it, this is when you create the space for something new to come in. When you resist it, you're just holding on to it. You're judging it, that it's bad, that it's wrong. You're keeping it in place. But when you love it, love that about yourself. When I give guidance, I sound like a lecturer. Even in that moment, you're serving others. Because if they're saying you sound like a lecturer, this means they are feeling inferior. You're creating that experience for them. And this is an experience they need to have, to feel less than. So love that about you. Love that about you. The only thing that makes it wrong is your judgment. Same with the saying sorry or not saying sorry. The only thing that makes it wrong is your judgment. I survived my childhood, and I love the person I turned into. So perhaps not saying sorry and not holding yourself accountable for your mistakes, it's part of my journey. It's neither right nor wrong. It's made me who I am today. That I choose to do things differently. I choose to apologize when I know I've messed up. That's my choice. It makes me feel better that I can acknowledge now when I make a mistake. I don't have to hide it under the rug. I don't have to bury my head in the sand. So, my beautiful beings, let us know in the comments your thoughts today. What do you think about birth charts, about astrology, about all of it? What has this video brought up for you today? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to know. I love you guys. Remember to click like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the messages, and share these beautiful videos that others may find the answers they're looking for. And thank you so much for this beautiful comment today, Helen. We love you dearly. Bye for now.